Hello, ladles and jelly spoons. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are taking a look at my kind of most recent project, which is a train or a railroad layout in my closet. As you can see, I'm kind of short on space when it comes to actually building something that can, be out of the way, but also be substantial enough to make a layout. So let's kind of take a look at what I've got here. It's really simple. I just did 2x4s. Get down here. I didn't do 4x4s because, first of all, it would have taken up a lot of space, and then it's not really necessary for the layout I have. And I decided to do two on each end, one in the middle here, and then one back there in the corner. And I think that's pretty good. I made it so that it was the height of one of the tables that we have here in the house. I thought that was a good height where you can stand up next to it. You can see, it's a few inches, below my pocket, so it's not where I can't sit down in a chair and work at it, which is kind of cool. I like that. I like being able to sit down and work if I need to. But yeah, so I've got random plates on here. Some of them represent some of the, ideas I have. But so far, this is kind of a clean slate of a railroad. And back to the construction of this, I made it tall enough that I could store all my trains underneath. And I like to keep my trains in these clear bins so I can still enjoy them. I could have the door open over here, and just every time I walk by, I can still see my trains. I can still see my Metro liner. I can still see my custom, my own train that I made for Louise, and Hogwarts Express I'm working on, the original. So yeah. And I've got other things going on. Some of the stuff's pulled out. Over here, I've got even more. I've got another, if I can move this chair, another my own train locomotive with some cars. I've got a whole entire, look, see those cars? There's more. They go all the way. Those are nothing but Duplo steam train cars and a steam train for a big project I got. And at the bottom of that, I've got the Duplo tracks. Over here you can see I've got some just regular RC track. And right here I've got all my 9-volt. And I've got more 9-volt on the way. Here's some of my first series of Lego Harry Potter, which I like. Goes with the Harry Potter Hogwarts Express. Yeah, and then when it comes to making these, I really try to keep it simple and buy just the 4-foot pieces of 2x4, so I didn't have to worry about cutting it down before I got in the car. I just got everything on the pallet and took it out to the car. Everything fit, and I used these. I don't know what they were, but they. So I'm guessing that they were about three by 3x3 or 3x4. I don't know what it was, but these plywood pieces, they're pretty cheap. They're as cheap as you can get, and I'm pretty sure it cost less than $100 to build this thing. So it was pretty good deal. Now you can see I have my rural retreat little depot here. I'm working on it. I was supposed to be going to Brick Universe in Augusta County, which is in Fishersville, Virginia, and like a week or two before they canceled, and I'm guessing it's because of all the hurricane conditions. that's made it so people can't come or no longer can come or whatever. So I pulled it out. I added this trailer, which is supposed to be Link's portable dark room, and I made it so I could punch this wall out. If I can one hand this, you can see the details on the inside. We've got a sink in there with some clear jugs underneath with some chemicals in it. Let's see if we can get better. Not really. And then I've got a little, spot there for him to hang up his photos. There's the red light in there. I'm going to light it up so it'll be glowing red. But yeah, this was fun. And I even got some decals that I might try out on there. It's not exactly the color I wanted, but I might could do something with these. We'll see. But this is just sitting out here because I have no space for it anywhere else. And yeah, so that's why that's there. Also, if you take a look at the design that I've got here of my layout, it's almost a modified dog bone curve. And that's actually what I want it to be. However, in order to just have this sit here, I had to break up the actual dog bone. It should keep going around here. So it wouldn't be anywhere close to this. It would be further back here and kind of like the center. Going a lot closer. So that's what I've done temporarily, just so I can still have my train go around and have this there. But I've got big plans. I have been working on parts and preparing myself for a slow but pretty dramatic transformation here, where I want this to kind of represent what like a real landscape would represent. And I know everybody says that when they're trying to make their houses, or not their houses, their cities or whatever it is. But what I'm really going for is something that kind of makes sense to real life when it comes to a train. And it's funny, I watched a video of from a YouTuber, Train of Thought. He's amazing. Great videos about trains and other things, and mostly trains though. I don't know if he does too much other than trains, but it's very interesting historical train information, and he's got a great sense of humor. Great videos. He also likes to talk about the inaccuracies of trains and films. So that's, if you're into movies and you're into trains, he's the guy. You gotta check him out. But he pointed out in one of the movies that the grades of some of the train tracks in these films, they are almost impossible, and that they were more likely to, in order to keep the grade low, they would, instead of go over a hill, they'd go through a hill. So that's what I want to show here. In just this small space, I want to be able to show the dramatic difference of the landscape as far as how a train will kind of keep going straight through no matter what, and kind of it'll keep its elevation almost. I do know it does change over times, and of course there are those trains that are made to go over, elevations and rugged terrain and whatnot, but this is going to be more realistic to what your average passenger train or freight train or would kind of the route it would take. So with that in mind, I'm going to have the lowest of the low, which is sea level. And obviously we don't want the train to be in the water. We want this train to be on a trestle bridge going over this water. I'm thinking this is probably going to have to go, but I had an idea for this, and it's just not going to work with my layout. So this is kind of representing water that's going to come through here, and I might even have a little, I might paint something here. I think I'm going to paint some panels to go around the edge to kind of give a little bit more of a environment rather than a white wall behind, Lego trees. Kind of like your 90s Lego artwork, how they would have, like that almost matte painting kind of look behind it. But anyways, I'm planning on having this elevated over the water. And whatever elevation I go with of the bridge going over, which I want it to be enough that it's like when people see it, they're like, oh, that looks dangerous, but not enough that it actually is, because this is on a curve. I don't want, and not only is it on a curve, but it's on a curve that's on the edge of the table, so that you don't want that train to go flying, but we want it to give a little bit of, we want to add some drama to the build. So if we're having these tracks, maybe this tall, I'm going to have to basically keep the tracks at that level going all the way around. Now, if I want a mountain to come up here, the tracks are going to be at the same height they are here as over there, but the mountains are going to be taller. So what are we going to do? We're going to do what they do in real life. We're going to go, to maintain that elevation, we're going to go through the mountain. And instead of making it just your simple mountain, we're going to do multiple terrains in different places. I've watched some Railfan videos of what essentially are drive-throughs of scenic railroads. And some of them have the most, exaggerated features. And I don't know if they did that just to be scenic or what, but like it involves like trains going into almost canyons that are, the walls are less than a foot away from the train. So it's so tight. It's like, who would build a train tracks through there? It's like, well, they obviously had to get through there, and they did what they can. So I want to include some of that. I want to include some of the features we have here in Appalachia, where we've got lots of these. They're kind of, I'm gonna have to add some photos to kind of to give like a reference of what I'm talking about here. But the mountains, the way that they erupted is they created rocks that were pushed upwards, and it creates a almost 45-degree angle of this just flat rock, like a slip and slide and down the mountain. And I wanted to recreate that in some of the builds, so I will try to do that. We'll see how that goes. In the meantime, I've got everything flat right here. I got my design. I'm going to have the dog bone. Like I said, this is going to cut in a little bit further, just like how it is here. So it'll be a real dog bone, but it will be, bent here to go around the corner. And then this back track here, this I guess it's a spur. I don't know if you would call that a spur, but it is going to be outside of the mountain, whereas straight through we're going to have a mountain right here, and I'm thinking it's going to start right here, and it's going to be a sheer cliff. And we've got a place here in Roanoke or in Catawba that's got a feature just like it that I'm going to model it from, and it's going to look really cool, kind of dividing the tracks, but also it'll eventually, the mountain will move back to the turn here, and it will end over here, but just enough that you're going to need the train to go through a tunnel, and it's going to be great. I think just to have a purpose and a meaning and a story, I wanted to do different things where I can maybe modularize these, but with the mountain and stuff, it might be too much. But what I'm thinking is if I've got two loops, I can have kind of two destinations. That way my train has a purpose. I mean, a train railroad line does not have to go across the country to have a purpose. It needs to have a place to go to and a place to come back to, you know, as far as maybe over here we could have a logging situation. And then over here you would have your sawmill. So your train's purpose would be transporting the logs over here to the sawmill. Different things like that. And one of the things I think I'm going to do, which is not going to be as modular as like a sawmill or something like that, and or a wooded area that has a lot of forestry going on, but instead doing my own scenic railroad. And the idea is the train track or the railroad just serves the purpose of being scenic. So this would be the super scenic area, obviously, with the waterfall and the train trestle. They're going over that. Lots of nature, lots of cool stuff going on over here, but you're having to cut through the mountains to get there. And then back here, I'm thinking I'm going to design a depot, not this big, but I might do this style. I do here in Virginia, this style of depot is pretty popular, where it's a white building with the green trim and the green roof. Oh no, it's already starting to get dust in here. Gotta take care of that. But yeah, normally this is under glass in the museum, so I gotta do better. It's in my closet, man. Terrible. Anyways, we've got the idea, so we're gonna slowly execute as far as we're going to lift the elevation of the track. It's going to be one of the first things. I am going to decide exactly where my water is going to run, because I want there to be blue panels underneath at the lowest level. Everything else is going to basically be covered up. I mean, these plates will be very close to the water because they're the banks. So this might going up to wherever, the trestle ends and where the land meets it, because, if the trestle's right here, it's going to keep going flat. Eventually the land is going to meet, and that's where we're going to determine the end of, this spot, as far as where it comes up from the banks up to ground level. Okay, we are here in the future, and still talking about the railroad here in the closet, and we've received a few things in the mail since, including these guys, which I actually thought were unopened, or I thought they were open, but it turns out they're unopened, which is crazy. Look. This was for sale for $10 at one time. So that's pretty cool. But anyways, back to talking about the layout here. The basic idea is that I really want to demonstrate how the terrain changes, but how the railroad line doesn't really, change that dramatically. If there's a train that needs to go over a mountain, it's not going to go up and over it. It's going to go through it. The train line stays the same, but I don't want the level to be here on the bottom. I want it to be above the water, so it'll be about this level, and it'll continue all the way around, but the terrain will change. So at some points it's going to be at ground level, some points it's going to be in, above the water, in the air, and at other points it's going to be going under the ground. So that's kind of the focus of this. A lot of the Lego builds I see, they don't really think about that until the last minute, and then they're like, oh, if I want to make a grade, or I gotta actually make my tracks go up and down. And that's not really realistic to real life. You know, trains don't go up and down unless you've got, you know, special trains designed to do that. And there are railroads that do that as well. But I want to show the dramatic, you know, parts of the tracks where it's too steep, too quick, but the train's got to keep going. So that's what we're going for here. I did cover this up because it was starting to collect some dust, and I've got lots more parts. Actually, I'm about to do an unboxing, so I just wanted to finish up this video explaining my progress on the layout. I got some more base plates to do some of the water, and I had ideas of, you know, different things that can be done so that it's kind of modular and interchangeable. And I'm thinking that the water and the mountain and stuff over here will probably stay the same no matter what. And what will end up changing will be this section, which is going to be where basically people are getting on and off a train. And then this is the scenic route or whatever. And one of the ideas that I've had has been inspired by, let's see, this guy down here. So I'm currently working on making this a whole entire motorized thing. I've already made the tender here, which was not originally for the first edition of the Hogwarts Express, but was for the second. And it has your regular wheels on there. And so I'm going to upgrade all these as well as a 9-volt motor that I just got delivered. So that'll be in the unboxing. And we're going to be also making another, what do you call it? Carriage. You see it back there. I bought a second set for like $15. It was almost complete. It's just missing a couple things. Mainly one of those big red windows, so I got to order that part. But I'm going to be making adding on another car to this, and kind of just making this a little bigger and more substantial. And I want to fill it with the original yellow-headed characters from the first Harry Potter release. So that's Sorcerer's Stone and the Chamber of Secrets, I believe. So it's going to be awesome. That's upcoming in a video. But that's probably it for today. We will get more into the details of the table here and the layout. But that's it so far. So thank you guys for watching, and until next time, bye-bye.